What are your thoughts on scoring deer? Leave a comment below. Let's talk about the latest way to measure how hard you hunt, and that's the score of the deer. You know, lately, that's just, I feel in my own mind, when people ask that as like the first question, hey, I shot a big 8-pointer. The first question, what did it score, you know? I'm like, oh, how far did he go? Did you put a good shot on him? Where did you shoot him? Blah, 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 blah. What broadhead you use? What? Oh, 5, 6 questions later, I might say, well, what did it score? Just to get a reference. But I really don't care what it scores, because every deer is different. There's no way, you know, just like people. I can lift weights and train every day alongside a Mr. Olympic sized bodybuilder, and I will never be him unless I take a lot of enhancements. And even so, my genetics might not be still capable of producing those same results as a Mr. Olympic bodybuilder, or if I ran every day, I would never become an Olympian. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't do those things. You should run if you want to run marathons and 5Ks. You should do the bodybuilding if you want to be a bodybuilder. But put into perspective that people and deer are just, everything's different. Imagine if in nature everything was the same and a disease came through, a bad winter came through, a lot of rain came through, a drought, whatever, a feast, famine, you name it, predators. If everyone was the same and that came through, it would wipe everything out. So that's why we need genetic diversity. That's why some deer have big antlers, have big bodies. Some I've seen have short legs, have long legs. I've seen ones with long tails. I've seen ones with big ears. I've seen double throat patches, you name it. So it's important to put into perspective where you're hunting, how well your land is managed, if you're hunting public land, if it's managed at all, and the age of the deer. But personally, I think that the score of the deer is just, it's just a bonus for, it's just a bonus. I mean, I like to shoot personally 4.5, 5.5-year-old plus age deer. If it's got a 130-inch rack or 170-inch rack, I really could care less. Honestly, most of the time I try to find an excuse to shoot the deer, just because, you know, like I said, I like shooting deer, so I have to talk myself out of shooting certain deer sometimes, because I know in the back of my mind I'm not going to be happy, it's not old enough, etc. I know that there's better specimens out there, or I know that's not what I came for. But the score of the deer has just become the symbol, I feel, for how hard somebody hunts. And if they tell somebody it's not a high enough score to fit that person who's asking's, you know, his measurement system, then it's a small deer. He sucks at hunting. He's not as good of a hunter. And that just could be my own twist on it in my own head. But it's not to say I'm right or wrong, but it's not the first question I ask when somebody's excited and tells me they shot a big deer. The second thing I want to talk about is authenticity. Is if you're going to shoot, if you're going to walk around, you're going to tell everybody you're the strongest guy in the gym, you tell everybody you shot the biggest buck, well, get it officially scored. Put some measure to it. Go to the powerlifting competition. Go to the, if you can eat the most chicken wings, why aren't you at the food eating contest then? Why, you know, get your deer officially scored. I understand nets are for fishes, but put the proof. The proof's in the pudding. You know what I mean? Put it on paper. Have somebody officially score it. I mean, there's guys out there, you know, measuring every nook and cranny on these things, trying to get an inch, and it's like they just want to go and show everyone how big their roll of quarters is compared to everybody else's. And it's like you look at their cell phone picture, and it's like, dude, that deer is not 140. If that deer is 140, this thing's 200 inches. It's a nice deer, but you just ruined it. I don't want to talk to you anymore now. I don't even want to talk to you ever again, because you just tried telling me your 125, 130 inch deer is a 140. It's like if you had just said you shot a nice buck, a nice 8-pointer, I'd be happy for you, but you just ruined it, you know, and now I don't even want to talk to you anymore. It's like, why, you know? So between those two things, it's not a measure of how hard you hunt. Not every deer is going to be a giant. Never can, never will be. The other thing is, if you do shoot one and you're going around telling everybody the score, put it in the books. Put it in the Pope and Young record books. These organizations support hunting. They support bow hunting. They support conservation. And do some research on, you know, the Pope and Young, Boone and Crockett, maybe your state, local chapters, and you'll see these are organizations worth putting money towards. It's a small amount of money to have your deer entered, but it puts authenticity to your name. And if you notice, a lot of professional hunters on TV, maybe they don't care, but you don't see their names in the Pope and Young record books. You don't see their names officially scored. You know, they do their own official scoring, you know, and the reason being is some of them hunt inside high fences, and I'm not against that, for it. I'm not with that though, but I'm just saying, if all these deer hunters, you know, all these TV guys, all these professional hunters are shooting these big bucks, and they're the biggest, baddest bow hunter on the planet, let's see the proof. Put some numerical values, have an official score your deer, enter it. Let's see who's really hunting fair chase. Let's see who's really about that life. You know what I'm saying? So that's my little spiel on scoring deer.